Welcome to another Blog Talk program of Eternal Connection. My name is Daniel Feint, and today we will be talking about using alchemy with thoughts. Again, my name is Daniel, and you can find out more about my work. I'm a poet, philosopher, and other kinds of labels that I've imposed on myself. And artist, okay, sure. I like to push a paintbrush on a piece of paper. It's danielfeint.com if you want to visit my website, where you can find other links on my Blog Talk profile. But let's get to the topic, which is basically, using alchemy on thoughts. I've decided to use alchemy to shift my paradigm of mental perception into a better angle or view that is oh so beneficial. I have the courage to play now with the perception of long-time thoughts that have occupied my mind for entirely too long. I now look at the past events in a whole other light. Now the light becomes dim sometimes, and sometimes it's brighter, but basically, if I have had a thought or a reoccurring memory of experience that has been bad in my life, I have a choice, because basically the thoughts are within me in the present moment. So, with that being said, then all the control and the responsibility is on my part. And I can look at them with a very positive outlook. Positive is such a cliched word, but, in just a way that I feel good about myself and my life and the experiences of my life. What if we could look back at our life and say, every experience was wonderful. Every second of my life was amazing, because, hold on, I'm going to refer to my notes here. This is one thing I wrote down. What I thought is a bad memory only looks like a message from God at the time to the direction I needed to travel to. So that's one way to look at it. Another is that any experience is no better or worse than another. It's just an experience. There is an impersonable nature to it, meaning, it's not personal why things happen. And basically this life, to a certain extent, is over before we know it, and it's just begun when it's over, which is right now, and it's beginning right now. So I'm not going to go down that or open that can of worms at the present moment more than I just did. So basically I'm able to relax and enjoy and smile and laugh. If I take life too seriously, I'm doubting God's guidance, grace, and love. God wants me to have an abundant life, and that could even mean just chilling out and not thinking it's all up to me. So how do we apply alchemy to past thoughts? Well, basically, we have the choice about how we perceive something. Let's say, to use the opposite direction, that if there was like one of the best memories in our life, and we choose to think of it as quote-unquote the best memories of our life, we're labeling it. And anytime you label something, you negate the essence of what it is, which is just a part of the past, a part of life experience that isn't here anymore. Now we could get into the whole idea about the past being an illusion, or that the past isn't real because it's always the present moment, unless you get into time travel and you want to build a time machine. But good luck with that. So let's see. What else could I say or look at my notes about? All thoughts about other people are within us. The way we perceive what others do is how we will see it. In other words, thoughts create the perception of reality. So choose well and decide on a beneficial view. Or don't. I can't make you do anything, so it's up to you how you want to view things. So, let's see. I'm going to put my notes away soon, and then it's just going to be me and the microphone, which is always challenging for me, but I'm making that a setup for it to be challenging because I'm labeling it that way. Let's see. Angles of view, how one perceives an event, one perspective of what truly happened. The idea of, something happens, like a crime scene or something, and nobody knows what's going on. Maybe it was a car accident or something. but it's not like a serious car accident. But anyway, there's like so many different ways of looking at it. And sometimes you get into court. I've never been in this situation. I mean, I've been in court, but, you know. Anyway, so there's like different angles of what really happened. I mean, whose fault is it? I mean, if it wasn't like a clear conclusion, there wouldn't be a court debate in the first place, right? So with that variable said, we can choose from our own perspective in our own life how we're going to view things. Because basically, no matter where we go, there we are. You know, the one constant that I see is ourselves and the God that is within us. So the rest is just sort of like happening around me, and I'm interacting with the best I possibly know how to. So let's see, trying on thoughts to see how they fit. Okay, well, I'll try on the thought, wow, recording this radio program is really challenging. Wow, I'm not having any fun. Wow. I mean, those are just dumb thoughts that I'm thinking that don't serve me, and it doesn't make it an enjoyable experience of recording this. So why don't I try on another set of clothes, if you will, or trying on thoughts is how I want to clothe my experience. So I will clothe my experience with, this is going to be one of the best shows that I've ever recorded. I'm having a lot of fun recording it, and I'm just relaxed and I can be myself. So that's just something fun to do too. There's a question I wrote down. Is it easy as just letting go of the thoughts that don't serve us? Well, why shouldn't it be easy? I mean, how easy can life get? I mean, we're the ones that put up the obstacles in front of us by the thoughts or beliefs that we have of, I can't walk out the door. Oh my gosh, I can't walk out the door. And if you say that to yourself a few more thousand times, you're really going to doubt your ability to walk out the door. So, or you could just say, like Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk. But I wouldn't say it like that. I'd say, just get up and walk out the door. So it's all about the weight that we put with the thoughts that we have and the belief systems that we've acquired throughout life. So let's see. Okay. What about thoughts that are frequent and reoccurring, almost like they are subconscious programming? Well, let's see. The thoughts that are reoccurring, let's see. Let's say I look out my window and I see a bird out my window. I'm like, okay. Wow, I see something. And it's reoccurring. Every day at the same time I look out and I see the same bird. But wait a minute, is it the same bird? Oh, it's a robin. Oh, well, what if it's a different robin? Oh, well, but it's a bird, so that means it must be the same. No, it could be two different robins that are birds. Or what if it's a blue jay or a cardinal? And then you're like, oh, but they're all birds. I see a bird out my window every day. It's the same thing. It reoccurs. If you're still following me, you can still see that it's different every time it shows up. And even if we get metaphysical, I mean, it could be the same bird you see every day, but it's changing. Its molecules are changing. Its form is changing. Its body, the cells of its body are regenerating and shedding and all that fun stuff. So, let's see. So, last thing, and I'm going to throw my notes and see where this will go from here. What I thought was a bad memory only looks like a message from God at the time. In the direction I needed to travel towards, what I needed to learn and what I know, and to know about who I am. Okay. That's the last. I throw my notes over there. They're not with me. I'm going to try to record bravely for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to make this a 20-minute recording. Wouldn't that be fun? And if I do that, I will talk about, I'll try to stay with the topic, okay? Because I want to practice for possible public speaking. Not to say that it'll happen, but all right. Alchemy of thoughts, perception. Okay, I'm sort of thinking out loud now. Perspective, paradigm shifts, the way we view things mentally. Our thoughts are the ancestors of our emotions. We can tell what we're thinking by what kind of feelings we're having. I'm feeling pretty good now, so I must be having thoughts of, wow, Dan, you're doing a good job. Wow, life overall isn't that bad. It could even be considered as good. So, let's see. I'm trying to think that in the idea of how we view things and the psychology, it's all very basically simple, is that as long as we're mindful of the present moment and we're aware of what's happening currently, and we seize this opportunity to recognize that we have the power to view things however we want. Somebody that we thought was an enemy of ours, we could just say, oh, well, all this time I've been labeling it as an enemy, but it's just a human just like I am. Yeah, and then we look at human characteristics, we all make mistakes. We all do things to a different degree, of course, but I mean, ultimately, we're all created in God's image as I see it. So there is no better or worse. I mean, I could say that I'm better than other people, but that's just me being self-righteous and just annoying if I said that. I could say that I'm worse than other people, but if I am worse than other people, which isn't true, but if I'm saying that, then that's just me and my ego wanting to feel sorry for my quote-unquote self. See, it's all about me. Me. So, obviously, me has had too much coffee. Let's see. So, yeah, the whole idea of better or worse is also impersonal because they're just labels and it just is, you know. We can, and I hope I'm explaining this correctly, and if you're still following me with this line of thought, then hopefully we'll both grasp the idea that things just are as they are until we say things are like a glass of water, but then we put a thought in, which is like a drop of blue dye, and all of a sudden, next thing we know, everything in that world, in our reality, is blue, or the color of the dye that we put into the water. It just sort of expands, you know, and it's just sort of like I did this diagram where I just said it comes from the heavenly realms, but that's just from my background and what I've been brainwashed to believe. We're all brainwashed from our beliefs because it's passed on from our parents and our society and our culture to a certain extent, at least in this world and on this planet. So I believe our thoughts or our consciousness is projected from the heavenly realms to our brains as a receiver. Our brains receive it into the physical reality and or physics that the material world has, and the frequency or the vibe is then from the brain sent out into our world, our experience, and it's reflected back to us like all these particles, these thoughts, these possibilities of what could happen are reflected back to us and interpreted by how we choose to look at it. I could look at some guy who looks similar to somebody who I felt in the past did me wrong and was a very bad person. And I could say, oh, that guy's a bad person. But it basically just looks like the guy that I thought did something bad to me in the past. It's actually a totally different guy. And in that aspect, I'm completely wrong with that conclusion because... Wait, where was I going with this? How I perceive things. So if I was to look at something and it reminds me of, all right, I'm going to get personal now, or as personal as I get when I'm talking abstractly. Let's say there was a situation where I felt that I did something wrong and the other person did something wrong. See, this is getting really specific, right? The more I hold on to it, the more it becomes something that I'm going to act out on, when basically there's no need to act out on it because it happened in the past. The only way that it's going to resurface or will sort of resurrect itself into the present moment is by my thinking and taking the memories of my past and applying them into words or actions or thoughts or emotions in this present moment. Okay, so let's see. What else could I talk about? Yeah, you know what? I said I was going to record for another 10 minutes. It's been another 5 minutes, a total of 15 minutes and 43 seconds plus the intro music. So I'm going to refer to my notes, and I'm just going to go from here. I have some scriptures that I wrote down. Whoever does not, okay, this one's 1 John 4:8. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. And I think that's really interesting, because I could use the word love instead of the word God, and it would still be talking about the same thing, unless our human perception of it corrodes the definition. So whoever does not love does not know God. So basically, you know, I could always ask myself, what would love do in this situation? One of my favorite scriptures I wrote down as well is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Let's see. That's what I also wrote down. Choices are aligned with God's will for my life. If my choices are aligned with God's will for my life, I need to know what God's will for my life is. Purpose, you know, all that good stuff. The purpose of my life, my dharma that I need to fulfill. So the choices I decide are intended to be in alignment with God's will for my life. So God is love. So if my choices are based on love, that's a good thing. And what's God's will for my life? Well, we just said in Jeremiah that God has plans to prosper and not harm, but to give hope and a future. So that was kind of fun. I just went over those notes. This was something that I wrote, which was kind of sappy, and I put it on my Facebook page, but I'll read it to you here. Every day we're getting closer to an open doorway and open heart, the gateway to the soul, the divine nature of who we truly are. These invisible connections, sent as reminders, persistent as they are, I must have a firm knowing of who I am and what is best for myself in my interactions with others. There is distance. The sacred protects me. But is it with a wall I should entertain in my thoughts? Is it time? Is it truly time to move on? It's funny how my current peaceful outlook can help me and guide me in the moment. Honestly, my back is against the wall, or, metaphorically. I must have the courage to move forward. These nighttime hours through the darkness are beginning to wear down my hope. This cold and isolating winter will soon be over. I could continue to write the things on my mind the best I can express, yet is it just a way to pass the time? To put my emotions out there for the world to see, I can only hope for the best and have trust and faith that all is well. So basically, something surfaced on my life in the past week, but I've done the best to explain it in an abstract and poetic and philosophical and or any way of describing it type of way. I am about to reach the 20-minute mark on the vocal recording, so this will probably be about a 21-minute recording or radio show on Blog Talk. Again, if you want to find out anything about me that I have online, just search Daniel Feint. First name Daniel, and my last name is Feindt, so you can search Google. I have a book out there, just one. I published a bunch of them, self-published a bunch of them, but one of them is on Amazon, Eternal Connection. So if you want to buy that to get a copy of my book, that's fine. If not, don't. My website has the poetry of the book in it, and I have some artwork and other things online. Well, I'm going to sign off. Take care wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever you're doing. Have a good one. And I'm going to press a button now and stop the recording, and it'll transition to some music, and all is well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.